Hi and welcome everyone. We're just going to give it a few more minutes or maybe even less just to allow some more people to join us. But we do have quite a big session planned, so we will start shortly. Can I just ask everyone who's joining at the moment to please keep yourself muted and keep your camera off unless you're one of our speakers, just so we can avoid any background noise or connection issues. Thank you. And also we have the chat function available. So if anyone has any questions throughout the session, please pop them in the chat. Bridget, one of our employees at Development Victoria, she will be monitoring the chat and asking questions on behalf of you at the end of the session. Okay, let's start. Welcome everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. This is the information session for the 2022-2023 intern program. Now I will just go over some housekeeping again. Could you please keep yourself muted and your camera off unless you're one of our speakers, just so we can avoid any background noise. Thank you. And we have the chat function available to ask any questions. So we'll be monitoring that and we'll ask questions towards the end. And just so everyone's aware, this session is also recorded. I'll just start with an acknowledgement of country. In the spirit of reconciliation, Development Victoria respectfully acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Victoria and recognises and respects their continuing cultural heritage, beliefs and connection to land. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present. Okay, so the agenda for this afternoon session, we have an hour. We will be hearing from our CEO, Angela Scandaraja. She will be talking about Development Victoria and our projects and also the importance of the intern program. I will then come back in and give you an outline of the 2022-2023 intern program. We will then hear from past interns, Charlotte O'Farrell and Marcus McCann, on our workplace culture, and then we'll be hearing from our current interns, Shania, Paul and Matthew, about their experience of the intern program, lessons learnt and any advice for prospective candidates. And then we'll be going through the application process and some Q&As at the end. So I'm going to hand over to Angela, and she's going to tell you all about Development Victoria and what we do.
Thanks, Sarah, and welcome to you all. I'm really thrilled that you're joining us for this session. Really important session on our calendar. We take our intern program really seriously, and so this is an exciting day for us to launch our next intake. Before I start, I would also like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the land on which we're all meeting today. For me, the Bunurong and the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and I pay my respects to elders past and present. At Development Victoria, we recognise the continuing connection that the traditional owners have with the land on which we do our work, and we really do try to reflect that connection in the work that we do. So as Sarah said, I have the pleasure of telling you about our organisation and the exciting projects that we're involved in. But I thought I'd start by just telling you a little bit about me and my history and my journey to Development Victoria. So I joined Development Victoria 4 years ago after a long career in the private sector as a lawyer at a large commercial law firm. So I joined DV not long after it was established as the General Counsel, and I moved into the CEO role, which has been an absolute privilege since 2018. And I really love this organisation. I'm really passionate about the things that we do, and I haven't regretted one moment of launching from the private sector into the public sector, and especially this organisation. So who is Development Victoria? I'm sure you've done a little bit of research before you've joined us today, but we are the Victorian Government's property development arm. So we have we're established by a piece of legislation. We're a separate statutory authority, and we have the job to deliver on behalf of government fantastic capital works projects that I'll take you through in a few moments, but also, you know, a really important job to contribute to housing affordability and housing diversity in Victoria. So we have a broad range of activities, you know, but a really important role to play. And our vision is really about making Victoria a great place to live, and that's what what we try to live by and what guides us on our daily activities. If we can move to the next slide, Sarah, please. So how we operate is we are not policymakers. So what we do is we deliver policy on behalf of the government, and we deliver policy through the project deliveries that we do and the property development that we undertake. And all of our projects are underpinned by one or more of these policy pillars. So I mentioned our important role that we play in housing and creating and trying to solve that huge challenge that we have in Victoria around housing affordability. We want to generate economic activity to support our economy. We do a lot of urban renewal, and our work is usually done on surplus government sites or underutilised government land, and it's really about regenerating some of those sites to create new communities or new opportunities. Value capture and creation, really important part of what we do. We are a self-funding agency, so we don't draw funds from government. We actually generate the funds that we need to survive through the activities that we undertake, and that's through advising our government partners in terms of their property development projects or their capital works projects, but also undertaking work that we sell into the market. And lastly, but not least importantly, of course, is the social and economic infrastructure that we deliver, and, you know, fantastic projects that you will see, you know, on a daily basis, like the Flinders Street station refurbishment or the State Library of Victoria refurbishment. So all of these policy pillars drive the projects that we do. And we currently have 45 projects on our books, so it's, you know, we have a broad breadth of things that we do that create opportunities for our teams, but also for our community. I'm going to touch on the sort of four main areas of our business that interns get to experience as they rotate through the program. But I wanted to just reinforce that they're not only the four areas in our business. We have sort of 6 key areas in terms of our structure. And whilst we haven't traditionally had interns rotate through the CEO office, which includes our sort of legal and risk and our corporate affairs functions, or our operations team, which includes our finance, our people and culture, we are really trying to expand the program, and we are hoping that, you know, people will be keen to go through some of those functions as well, because I think it's a really important part of our business, and what I like to think of the backbone of the business that supports our great, you know, project teams to be able to do what they do. But as I said, I'll take you through the 4 sort of areas that really focus on projects. So the first is our precincts team, and this team really drives those pillars around urban renewal and economic development. And some of the examples of the great work they're doing is the Docklands project, something that we've been involved with for many years through our predecessor organisations, but continues to be a really critical piece in our precinct portfolio. Another newer project is the former GMH site at Fisherman's Bend, and there we are trying to generate economic activity through an employment innovation precinct. And the team is doing a great job there, and you may have seen a recent announcement where the University of Melbourne is actually establishing their new School of Engineering at that site, so that's a really exciting opportunity. Revitalising Central Dandenong, another fantastic urban renewal project that has been going for many years, and it's really rejuvenated the centre of Dandenong, and we've done a lot of work in creating infrastructure to drive economic activity in that area. And one of our regional projects, Junction Place in Wodonga, developing a former railway site into sort of fantastic parkland, and now starting to develop some residential outcomes there and some commercial activity. So a really right in the middle of Wodonga CBD, so a very high profile site, but really bringing it back to life. The next part of the business that I would like to touch on is that civic and social infrastructure space. And these are, you know, those really iconic projects that the community gets to enjoy, and we are so proud and privileged to be able to deliver. And the newest one in our suite is the Melbourne Arts Precinct. So if some of you, or I'm sure most of you, would have enjoyed the international NGVs, the National Gallery, or visited the Arts Centre. This project is bringing all of those assets together and are developing a new contemporary National Gallery in that area, and bringing it all together with a new public realm. That's going to be a really exciting opportunity for a new gathering place for Melburnians. So that's a really exciting project that's kicked off, as has the State Basketball Centre in Knox, a fantastic new facility that will drive the development of basketball in this state. And nationally, actually, it's a really important facility for basketball generally. We've just finished finishing off the 10-year redevelopment program at Melbourne Park, and that's been a really exciting journey. And this year we've brought that to a head, and the next Australian Open will really get to see the fantastic work that our team has undertaken there in creating a new show court and a new function centre. And another regional project, the Geelong Arts Centre, that's underway in Geelong. So this gives you an idea of the breadth of fantastic projects that our teams are involved in. The next part of our business that I thought I'd just touch on is our more traditional property development, and this includes, you know, sales of land lots, sales of housing, but also commercial developments as well. And the Fitzroy Gasworks project is a good example where it probably fits in with all of the parts of our business. A former gasworks site that now there is a secondary school being developed on that site. We're about to deliver through our civic infrastructure team a new sports facility on the site. And we are also looking to partner with another government agency to deliver some social housing on the site, and for us an affordable build-to-rent pilot. So a real example of all of the parts of our business coming together to create a fantastic outcome right in the heart of Melbourne. Bendigo Gov Hub, a commercial office building in the regions that supports the government's policy to decentralise government services across our state. Knoxfield, a new housing development that will create different types of housing in that suburb. And Canley, again, an opportunity that's going to look at different housing types to create some affordability in a really well located part of Melbourne. So just a snapshot of some of the projects that our teams are involved in. And the final area that I'll just touch on briefly is our strategy team. And whilst they don't necessarily deliver physically the projects, they are integral to our teams in being able to support the delivery of the projects. And that's really focusing around two key strategies that drive a lot of our projects. That's our affordable and diverse communities framework that really drives sort of the outcomes that we want to see from our housing projects. Our sustainability strategy that is part of every project that we do, a really important part. You know, our aim is to deliver best practice solutions from a sustainability front, and the strategy team helps and guides our project teams to be able to meet our ambitions on both of those fronts. They also support our project pipeline, so they do the front end feasibility analysis and due diligence in terms of our new acquisitions. And they do a lot of advisory work across government to support agencies with their funding requests for their capital projects through the business case process into Cabinet and into the budget process. So a really important part of our sort of makeup, our team, but a team that supports all parts of our business, just as mentioned, as does the operations team and the CEO office. So again, I don't want to take up all of the time because you really do need to hear from our team members around what it's like to work at Development Victoria, and also from our current interns around what the intern program is like. But I just did want to reinforce that this is a really important program for us. We really welcome the opportunity to welcome students into our organisation to give you some exposure to what we do. We think it's a great way for us to show what we offer people who are launching their career, and the breadth of experience that we do offer, and we think that the program is a great way of showing that. So I do encourage you to ask as many questions as you want through this session, because really we are really keen for you to put in your applications, and we're really keen to welcome you into our organisation. Thanks, Sarah. I'll hand back to you.
Thanks, Angela. Okay, just to give everyone a bit of an overview of what our intern program looks like before we do hear from some other people in the organisation. So the 2022-2023 intern program is aimed at students studying property development, planning, construction, project management, engineering, architecture, or a relevant field in 2022. Students will be engaged for 22.8 hours per week, with the program commencing in February 2022 and running for 2 years until December 2023. So the 22.8 hours per week is flexible to help you balance your academic priorities. So it could look like 3 full days a week. It could look like some, shorter hours across 4 or 5 days. It's completely up to you, and we're very flexible. You'll spend 6 months rotating through each of the 4 groups that Angela mentioned before: precinct, civic, infrastructure, property, and strategy. You'll be provided with a structured induction program, on-the-job training, and an experienced mentor. So you don't come into this alone, you get a lot of guidance. And then in your second year, there is the opportunity to apply for ongoing roles, which our current interns have actually done, and I'm happy to say have been successful. So all of our current interns are now ongoing permanent assistant development managers within the company, which is fantastic. So I am going to hand over to Charlotte and Marcus, and they're going to tell you all about what it's like working at Development Victoria.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah. Can you hear me all right there now?
Yes.
Beautiful. Great. Firstly, afternoon, everyone. It's awesome to see such a large number of people interested in DV's intern program, like always. It's great to see that you're all on the call. My name is Marcus McMahon, and I'm a development manager in the strategy and specifically the acquisitions team. I'm Melbourne born. I'm 23. I studied at the University of Melbourne, doing a Bachelor of Design and a Diploma of Languages in Chinese. So I've always loved property, and I've started to really love Chinese, and I've wanted to blend those in as part of my career, and that's something that I've been really passionate about more recently. I've always appreciated with development that your work is tangible in the end, and you can literally see the outcome from your hard work that you put in over time. So what about yourself, Charlotte? Tell me a bit about you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks, Marcus. So I'm Charlotte. I'm an urban planner in the strategy team. So I hail from regional New South Wales, and I moved to Melbourne about 6 years ago and just fell in love with the culture, the food, the music, everything you can enjoy normally. Hopefully we can get out again soon. So I studied human geography at uni, where I developed a really strong interest in kind of social and environmental issues. And that led me into my Master of Urban Planning, where I saw an opportunity to really kind of implement this in a little bit more of a practical way. And then, look, I attended the intern night with no clue what DV was a few years ago, but I was really sold by the people that spoke and really the intern experience that was offered. And so, yeah, G did it deliver. So after the internship, I became an assistant development manager in the strategy team that Angela spoke to. And in this team, I straddled 3 areas, and that was affordable housing, sustainability, and urban planning. And now I've really honed my interest and kind of transitioned into my current role as a planner. But yeah, since day one at DB, I've really received amazing exposure, learning opportunities on projects and the workings of government and much more. So yeah, Marcus, why DV? Like, why DV to progress your career path?
It's a good question, but I started, I think, the internship during my 3rd year at uni. So it was at 19, fairly young, however, really wanted to gain some industry experience while finishing my studies. And I was attracted to DV's internship in particular as it provided an opportunity to experience various different teams and work. And like what Angela touched on before, you get to rotate between these teams. So, for example, I rotated between divisions. I started in the acquisitions team, which is the strategy space, and that exposed me to the initial development, site assessments, planning, valuations, and feasibilities. And then I rotated into the precincts team, which focused more on larger scale developments like Docklands and Fisherman's Bend. So by undertaking the rotation process, it kind of allowed me to realise my passion more for the acquisition space, and thus meant I could really confidently apply for an assistant development manager role and position, and then progress into a development management position over time. So, Charlotte, looking at your greatest achievement, what do you think it has been so far at DV?
It's a good question, tricky question. I don't know if I would say greatest achievement, but okay. A project that I worked on last year was helping certify DV's operations as carbon neutral. And this kind of involved carbon accounting for anything that we did that emits carbon, like lights, waste, cars. Then we had to purchase offsets and then help write an emissions reduction strategy. And so this was a huge achievement, not only for DV, but it was also a fantastic learning curve for me. And yeah, it was a really great process to kind of work on that journey. So that was definitely a fun one. How about you, Marcus?
Yeah, I think it's hard to pinpoint one like you were kind of talking about there, but I think being in the acquisitions team with a lot of different sites coming across your desk every day, there's a lot of small wins throughout the journey. However, more recently, I filled probably the shoes of my ex-manager, JP, who left, and have more led the feasibility modelling on a more recent acquisition. And this was a challenge initially because I was more learning on the fly, but I had the support around me, including my director, and I was able to create the feasibility, communicate my assumptions, and learn how to do that appropriately when questioned. So in the end, I think this led to the approval to purchase the site, which stands to be a real substantial development in the future DV pipeline. Now, changing it up a bit, tell me about the diversity and working groups at DV, Charlotte, that you're involved in.
Yeah, sure. So DV's leadership in diversity has been recently recognised by winning both the I think state and national awards from the UDIA in diversity. And I think that's really recognition that DV has maintained a gender balance over the last 3 years, but I think there's been a really strong focus in like not only diversity as a tick box, but really leveraging the benefits and value of diversity, not only for the organisation, but for the projects that we deliver. And I think diversity has been definitely driven by our fantastic leadership team, thanks to Angela, but there are also a variety of working groups that also kind of drive this initiative. So working groups, Marcus, you might ask, is made up from a group of staff from across different teams, roles, different experiences and skill sets across the organisation. So for example, I'm co-chair of the Women at DV working group, and that's just a group of women across the organisation who are really passionate about driving gender equality. I think we've done so much, but there's always still more work to do. And then other working groups include like the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Paul's going to speak later and he's a member of that as well. There's the Health and Wellbeing Committee, which Sarah is a part of, who's also on the call. And Marcus, I know you're part of the Emerging Leaders Committee, which is kind of about networking and creating kind of social opportunities for kind of those of us starting our career. So yeah, I think it's another really great aspect of working at DV. So Marcus, I touched on DV's leadership team. Can you tell me a little bit more about like people and leadership and your mentors?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one thing that's really important is to have good leadership and mentors around you, especially when you're starting out in your career. And I've been really fortunate with the people I've had around me at DV. In particular, I referred to JP, my direct manager, during the internship. I was able to really shadow him and learn from him during that process. And that was really eye-opening and gave me a lot of key takeaways. But another example of a leader and a mentor is my direct manager and director at the moment, Catherine. She's extremely knowledgeable and always listens. However, will question me and others if something doesn't seem correct from her experience. And this might seem small, but I prefer this openness and directness as it really teaches me how to handle when being questioned and makes things so much clearer and allows me to take that away and work on it for next time or know how to respond. So based on the leaders around me, including JP at the time, Catherine, and various others at DV, I'll try and take the best parts of each person, really endeavour to apply them to myself in the future as I try and progress my career. But another key point I've learned throughout my journey in this internship is the difference between a career and a job. I think a career is something that you're really passionate about. It's what makes you tick. It's what makes you get up in the morning, and a job might be something that you go to for a financial reward. However, if you're looking to kickstart your career, build a solid platform, you're eager to learn and get those building blocks together, I definitely think DV provides that perfect environment to do so, Charlotte. So yeah, it's a great opportunity. So we've all been working from home during COVID. We've been on these virtual Teams calls a lot. How have you found the flexible work environment at DV during this time?
Yeah, good question. I think flexible work has definitely been highlighted over this last year, but I think what works so well at DV is there's such a strong culture for trust, honesty and accountability. And I think do what you need to do is a really common phrase, like as long as we get the work done, we're able to work however works best for us and our team. Like very small things like yesterday, I started a little bit early so I could go out for a really nice walk at lunchtime in the sunshine. And so, but even virtually, like I think collaboration and connection is still really strong. Every Monday morning, my team catch up on a video call to talk about the weekend and maybe like what Netflix show we'd binged over the weekend, just to keep that connection going. And then at the beginning of this year, the organisation moved to kind of a hybrid way of working, which was 3-4 days in the office and 1-2 days at home. And I think I loved how this really improved work-life balance, and it still provided a really strong social and team connection. And I think kind of also that balance really benefits kind of those who might be studying and have other commitments as well. So I'm really excited to get back into the office. I really miss it. Nothing beats our team culture. I know you agree with that, Marcus. Do you want to talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think even with lockdown, our culture has been great. I know we're in the strategy team and we often have Friday afternoon virtual drinks or some like trivia kind of nights or afternoons. So it's really good. But when we are in the office, you're in a great location. We like to have sometimes Friday lunches. We go out and socialise after work on a Friday for drinks, or we've got a great balance between a professional environment where the culture is really great, and then also afterwards where you're able to socialise, and there's lots of great friends who I've made at DV as well. So short and sharp, it's great fun at DV at the moment. But Charlotte, now, in exactly 9 words, why should anyone on this call apply for the DV internship?
I would have to say fantastic exposure, passionate people, and a day is never the same.
All right, that's 9. You've done pretty well there.
Yeah, thank you. Do you think you can beat me maybe with exactly 6 words, Marcus?
Yeah, I'll try. 6 words: unique projects, great mentors, and endless opportunities. So.
Beautifully done. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thought we would have rehearsed it.
Definitely. But that's all from us. Are we passing it over to Paul, Shania, or are we going back to Sarah?
No, we can go straight to our current interns. Well, sorry, our recently promoted assistant development managers who were part of our 2020-2021 intern program, Paul, Shania, and Matthew. So I will hand it across to you guys.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marcus and Charlotte. Hi, everyone. I'm Shania. I am a past intern and newly appointed assistant development manager. I grew up in Bendigo and I studied architecture and construction management at Deakin University at the Geelong Waterfront campus. I have a passion for design and delivery. And at the start of my course, I was more so focused on design, but I ended up discovering my passion for delivery also. Before starting my internship at DV, I just wanted to embrace as many opportunities as I could and find a good balance of design and delivery. I moved to Melbourne at the end of 2019 before commencing my internship at DV in 2020. Overall, I wanted exposure to as much as I can to learn about the industry and the necessities involved in delivering successful projects. My current goal is to find a good balance of my passions, design and delivery, and be in a position of endless learning opportunities, which DV has presented me with. The divisions and projects that I rotated throughout my internship over the last 18 or so months were civics, precincts and strategy. I worked on the State Basketball Centre when I was in the civics division. I guess the most valuable thing I took away from working on this project was the interesting stakeholder group. I had a really valuable experience and it helped me understand the different project relationships, culture and dynamics. This is something that I definitely wasn't exposed to throughout my years at university. Moving on to the precincts division that I worked on the Docklands precinct, and I was newly exposed to master plans, construction licenses, planning permit applications, and internal documents. This was something new, and I really enjoyed getting exposure to new things outside of design and delivery specifically. Although I did have a passion for design, I tried to get involved in workshops with the master plan. It was interesting to see how the team overcame design challenges in a collaborative environment with external consultants. Moving on to my strategy rotation, I worked on the affordable build to rent project for Fitzroy Gasworks. I was involved in the procurement and engagement of several consultants for the investment case phase. It was really interesting to be part of a phase of a project that wasn't design or delivery. Although I did have a passion for design, still I tried to get involved in an amenity study which formed part of the brief for the architect. And also working for the advisory team, I was able to collaborate across divisions, which helped me understand the different methods and processes that worked well for different teams, and I was able to adapt to those different team dynamics. Best thing about DV, I would say, is the variety in my role. Like Charlotte said before, no day was the same. I was always presented with opportunities to learn new things, which was really valuable for me. But most importantly, I would definitely say the people at DV was the best thing about DV. Working across all the divisions, projects, and the teams, I established so many positive relationships, both internal and external. While rotating through all of the projects and the divisions, I was able to call upon each of the relationships I made through my time, which gave me a really well-rounded perspective of the things that I was working on. Additionally, the support that I got from everyone really motivated me to learn and embark on new opportunities for growth. So words of advice I would give to all of you is to come in with an open mind, embrace new things, and take any challenge for an opportunity for growth. We all know what our strengths and weaknesses are, and it's challenging to be exposed to new things that you may at first not be interested in, but it's extremely beneficial to understand the different stages of a project. And lastly, take all the opportunities you can to learn. Don't take it too seriously, and most importantly, ask all the questions you can think of. Moving on to Paul, my experience was pretty straightforward. I was at uni, I came in as an undergraduate, and now that I've graduated, I've been fortunate enough to be promoted to an assistant development manager. Can you tell me about your experience?
Yeah, thank you, Shania. And my experience is a little bit different to yours, given that I had a career prior to my now career in the development industry. I've worked in the financial services for over a decade and decided it wasn't for me after 10 or 12 years and that I wanted to embark on a career change. So I completed my Master of Urban Planning part-time at RMIT University. And through that study and in my general interest in the urban environment, I developed a real passion. And I was really enthusiastic about the way that planning can help shape how we live. So the intern night back in 2019, I was the age of 37 and you know, excited by what I heard at the night. I didn't know much about the Development Victoria, but I was really excited by the passion that the staff had who spoke that night. I was really excited by the purpose that staff felt about the projects that Development Victoria deliver. So I put in my application and I was just thrilled to be successful as an applicant. Now, I wasn't put off by the fact that it was part-time or the fact that it was 2 years. I really saw that, for me as a mature age new starter into a career, that time and the time outside of work was going to work to my advantage in terms of me getting up to speed with the new career. With the internship, my rotations were with precincts, with strategy and with property. When I was with precincts and property, very different to what I had studied in terms of urban planning. I was doing project management, I was doing procurement of consultants, stakeholder engagement, and the administration of developments. So I felt really out of my depth with a lot of things, but I was supported by the people who I worked with, by the greater team and the greater divisions. So it was a real learning experience for me working within the precincts and property teams. The strategy team, however, is where I felt at home. That was my second rotation. Working with acquisitions, working with Marcus, you heard from before, looking at the potential development sites, doing feasibility work, took a lot of investigation and research. I mean, reading and talking, this is my bread and butter. I love doing it. So again, I felt really at home, and I got to use the skills and the experience I learned at university in terms of looking at how planning controls apply and shape development and use of land. So in addition to the 3 rotations that I completed on my internship, I also got involved with working groups here at Development Victoria, including the Diversity and Inclusion Working Group. who Charlotte spoke about before. And it's amazing to get to contribute my life experience as a person with a disability to help shape some of the outcomes about what Development Victoria does. As an extension of that, I also got to present my story of personal resilience to Development Victoria through one of our learning and connection sessions. The learning and connection sessions run each week for the most part. And for me, that really shows, and it's a demonstration about how Development Victoria has a culture for learning and an appetite for always improving and always looking to learn from others' experience. So from the internship, what I took away from it was that the hopes I had about the internship from the first intern night back in 2019 were fulfilled. It was the opportunity to learn that I was really excited about. It was an amazing experience to rotate through such a wide variety of projects to work on. Seeing the different cycles of development, I really feel now that I'm set up to succeed in this new career. So I strongly encourage you to make an application for this intern program that's on offer now for the next 2 years. And if you're successful in becoming an intern with the Development Victoria, you get a seat at the decision-making table, and it's an opportunity for you to start your career by helping to shape outcomes for Victoria. And if you think my experience is different, you're going to hear another different experience again. Because Matthew, you're a little bit different. You've done a pathway probably halfway between Shania and myself.
That's probably a good summary of it. Hi everyone, my name's Matthew Veach, and like Paul and Shania, I'm an assistant development manager coming off an internship with Development Victoria. I grew up in the coastal town of Torquay and decided to follow my passion of building houses out of Lego by studying architecture and construction management at Deakin in Geelong, just like Shania actually. From that, I joined the industry down the architecture path and spent 2 years as a draftsman, drawing up residential buildings in AutoCAD and Revit. After a while, I felt it wasn't quite what I was looking for and started looking for a career change. I found the part I liked the most about my job was talking through the designs with my colleagues, clients, and consultants. I felt pulled towards project management as it would help me get more of this while also honing in on my love for problem solving. I wanted to get into development management because it looks at the whole process from initiation to close with all facets of the job being considered. Design, engineering, budget, program, taking all the information from consultants and using it to make the best decisions for the project. I was drawn to DV because they manage some of the state's largest developments, and they focus on delivering outcomes that consider more than just the bottom line. They're looking to improve the built environment and the communities that live in it. At the time, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted out of a job, but I knew that I wanted to spend my time collaborating with people to work towards that goal. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in pursuing too, then DV is the place for you. The team is incredibly friendly and welcoming, and despite the organisation's size, I felt at home immediately. So far at DV, I've got to work on some great projects, meet some great people, and I've learned a great deal about the industry. I've also learned that there's a great deal I still have to learn. As far as what interests you, there's something for everyone here at DV. Paul is into planning, Shania loves design, I love project management and finances. The three of us have found a place at DV where we can thrive and are supported by the people around us. So my best advice is go for it. It might feel like you don't have a chance. That's certainly how I felt when I saw the number of applicants at the intern night back in 2019. But shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. You'll surprise yourself with what you're capable of. And if you make it in, I look forward to seeing you around.
Thanks for that great sell, guys. Okay, so I'm just going to share the application process now. So applications are now open. You can apply via our dedicated intern program page via our website, which the link is just there. I'll also pop that in the chat for you. You apply by submitting your cover letter, resume, and academic transcripts. And applications close midnight Sunday, 3rd of October. So we will now move to question and answer time. Bridge, do we have anything in the chat box currently?
No questions yet, but I'll ask a question. Feel free to jump in, any of the current or previous interns. What were your expectations prior to starting the intern program at DV, and how did they sort of either surpass or meet those expectations? Don't all jump at once.
I'm happy to answer that one, Bridget. I think the expectations coming in, it's very challenging, especially not being in the professional space as of yet, to have expectations as such. Like, I had expectations that DV, it's in government, it'd be really a unique experience, because looking at the website with all the different projects, I was really excited. But coming into the space, I was a bit probably, I'm going to say immature in some regard, just not having the experience. But coming in, everyone was so welcoming, so that really surpassed what I kind of thought previously. I thought, well, everyone's really welcoming, they're kind, they're taking the time to really help me improve myself and my learning throughout this period. So that was the one thing that probably surpassed my, I guess, expectations, was that people were really kind with and giving with their time. And even though I did have the role and the title of an intern, we were treated as an equal, and our ideas and understandings and life experiences were given merit as well. So yeah, that's what definitely was surpassed.
Perfect. Thanks, Marcus.
I might also add to that by saying I came into this not really sure exactly what was going to be, happening on a day-to-day basis. I kind of knew, okay, you got a project, it's going to, kind of make its way from, a feasibility and setting up the project to, organizing the people to actually do the job. But I had no idea the wide range of different projects that we do here at DV, and also just the diversity in tasks that you'd be helping with on a day-to-day basis. So I mean, it's been a great experience doing the intern program, and I highly recommend it.
Great, thanks, Matt. We've got a couple of questions rolling in now, so I might just start off with those. Sarah, you can probably answer most of these by the look of it. First one I've got here is I'm first year, first semester. I don't have an academic transcript yet. Does this matter?
No, if you don't have one, you don't have one. Just apply with your cover letter and resume.
Cool. How long does it take to start work if you get approved after the application process?
So our program starts in February next year.
Are applications open to international students?
As long as your visa allows you to work 22.8 hours per week across the 2-year period, then yes.
Thanks. May I ask how many interns will be accepted in the program?
5.
Do you hire interns that have graduated from university or primarily students?
We usually have primarily students, but it is open to both, so long as you are aware that it is a part-time program for 2 years, then that's fine.
Cool.
And just on that, sorry to interrupt, Sarah, I'd graduated, so I had finished my degree and wasn't put off by the fact that it was a part-time internship. I committed to it, and again, I saw it as the opportunity, and I'm very grateful that Development Victoria again considered me, even though I had finished my studies.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Paul. Another question, if we've finished our studies during the 2-year period, is there scope to ramp up the hours?
Yes, so depending on business needs and personal preferences, there is scope, and as we've seen from Paul, Shania and Matthew, at the around 18-month mark, they have all applied for full-time permanent assistant development manager roles, so that was available to them as well.
Great. A building surveyor is also eligible.
Yeah, so the beauty about property is it's multidisciplinary, and same with Development Victoria. We have people from all different backgrounds.
Do you consider academic degrees and academic transcripts from overseas?
Yes, why not?
Do we include transcripts from prior relevant degrees? Excuse me.
Yes, all and any would help.
Yeah, perfect. Next question, how many applications do you normally receive? That's a good question.
The last two programs, we coincidentally received exactly 136 applications across both programs. So that should give you an indication.
If we're currently studying a postgraduate degree, do we also have to submit this transcript from our completed degree?
Yeah, that would be helpful. If it's from a relevant discipline, then yes.
Another one around transcripts, a lot around transcripts today. Is there a limit on the number of transcripts?
I believe I have allowed you to upload up to 6 documents, so work within those parameters. If not, maybe try and combine the files.
Yeah, perfect. Another question. Hi there, just wondering what DV is looking for in an intern and if there is a preference for younger students versus mature age students.
No preference between younger and mature age, none at all. In terms of what we're looking for, being self-motivated, being flexible, a willingness to learn, ask questions, yeah, and just get in there and learn and soak it all up.
Perfect. After the application process, what is the next step, such as interview face-to-face, etc.?
Yeah, so we will shortlist. We will do interviews likely over Microsoft Teams, but face-to-face. That will be first round, and then there's a select group that goes through to second round interview, and previously that has been a presentation to our people and culture director and another senior member of staff. Don't be put off by that though, because the topic is usually yourself. So it's usually pretty easy to talk about yourself for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Just to clarify, no need for an irrelevant transcript.
No.
Cool. Would the certificates that we received be satisfactory?
Yes. If you don't have an academic transcript, then you don't have one. Just upload what you've got. Yeah.
Perfect. I think that's all the questions that have come through. Oh, no. Yep, that's it so far. Perfect. I think that's all the questions.
Excellent. Thank you. I'll just go back to the page with the link of how to apply, just so everyone can write that down for a minute.
I have another few questions coming through, so
sure.
I'll ask those as well. If we have any questions in the lead up to the application, who is the best person to get in contact with?
That would be me. So you can email me at sarah.viola@development.vic.gov.au. I will put my email in the chat.
Perfect. I've completed first year of project management. Do you recommend me applying, or should I study further and then apply?
If you're ready to apply, you're ready to apply. You can study alongside the program.
Yeah, great. Out of curiosity, what sort of prior work experience is DV looking for in interns?
We've had people from lots of different experiences. So we've had people that have worked at the counter at a butcher. We've had people that have worked for, you know, their parents are property developers. So completely, yeah, very wide ranging. This is an intern program. We don't expect you to have relevant work experience.
Yeah, and on that note as well, I think I'd say, you know, there's a few people that have worked at Coles or wineries or whatnot. It's totally, all of that experience is valid, and I mean, customer service is a great experience. So
definitely.
Absolutely. Are there opportunities for engineers?
Absolutely.
I may have misheard, but where do we submit our applications?
So the link is on the screen right now. That's our dedicated intern program page, and about halfway down, there's an apply now button.
Approximately how long is the entire application process, and when can successful candidates expect to be notified?
Good question. So in terms of how long the application process is, there's a few screening questions to answer, but they're very, very quick and easy. So I would say as long as you've got your documents ready, like your cover letter and your resume, 5 minutes.
And
sorry, what was the next part?
No, in terms of if candidates are successful, when would they expect to be notified afterwards?
So so applications close on the 3rd of October, and then we're looking to conduct first round interviews in the 2 weeks following that. So I would like to think that we will have offers made by the end of October / very early November.
Perfect. Can I ask if there are requirements of visas for international students?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, as long as your visa allows you to work 22.8 hours per week over the 2-year period, then you are eligible to apply.
Yeah, great. And that is all the questions that have come through now.
Okay. Well, we've got 4 minutes to go. This meeting was recorded, so I will try and send out a recording of this session to everyone on the call now and the people that couldn't make it. I'm just going to put my email in the chat right now. So if you have any questions or you'd like to discuss your application further, I can't talk and type at the same time. Feel free to just email me.
Cool. Another question, will the PowerPoint be sent to us?
I can do. I can send the PowerPoint, yep.
Cool. Referrals could be added to the application. Do they help or not?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. Yes, please. Referrals are fantastic. And if you don't have any, don't worry about it not being relevant. Again, if you've worked at a butcher or if you've worked at Coles, pop your line manager down. University professors or teachers are also good ones. Family, friends, if you've got nothing else. But yeah, references would be excellent too, preferably.
Yeah, great. Cool. That's it so far. Oh, sorry, Sarah.
Yep.
Will you be seeking a portfolio as well as a CV? I'm an urban planning student.
It's not a requirement, but if you would like to add a portfolio, then you are very welcome to. We'd love to see it.
That is, I don't want to say that's it, but that's it so far.
Well, we've got 3 more minutes, so. Would it give you an edge? Look, I'm not going to say yes because there's probably 99% of you that don't have a portfolio. It would just, it'd be nice to see. It likely won't give you an edge, no.
Yeah, cool. Perfect. I think that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us, and thank you very much to all of our speakers. It was lovely hearing from you all. I look forward to seeing all 136 applications come through this year. Thank you. We'll end it here.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all. See you. Bye.
Thanks all. Cheers.
Thanks all.
I'll just answer that last question that's come through for Francesco. What are the locations of placement? So we are located in the Melbourne CBD. Obviously, we're all working from home at the moment, but we all do hope to get back there soon.
Might be it.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you. All right, that's it. Thanks, Paul.
No worries, Sarah. Have a good rest of your afternoon.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.